I mean, we're certainly moving at a much faster pace. The tempo's better. I think the kids' hard work this summer is really starting to pay off, and so that's been exciting to see. We're definitely further along with what we're trying to do on offense and defense. You know, the kids know kind of the base schemes, and so we're reinstalling them now for the third time. And so I think overall there's a higher level of football out there than there was in the spring. You know, obviously it's practice 3, so there's still a long way to go, but I think it's been a good first 3 days.
Mike, going back to the spring, the word we kept hearing, the buzzword, if you will, was physical, physicality. Seems like the fall, the word we keep hearing is energy. When you took over, did you sense the deficit in energy in the program? And if so, how'd you go about fixing that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's human nature, right? If things aren't going a certain way for you, it's hard to bring energy. And so, you know, we knew that. We knew that was going to be a piece of it. It's been a really hard 2 years between COVID and everything these kids have been through, not having success on the field. And so we just tried to pump energy back into it, right? How, I don't know, you just demand a certain level of excitement. You carry yourself as coaches with a certain level of energy and excitement, and you hope that all rubs off. And I think that's where it comes from. And then, you know, the next thing is that we've got to create confidence, because then confidence will allow it to sustain through success.
Is the emphasis on social media, has that increased the energy in the room?
I think they're two separate deals. I think the social media emphasis is not really about our team. It's really more about our fan base and trying to reignite and re-energize the Duke community and the Duke football community. I think, you know, the energy that we're trying to bring to our daily life here at Duke football is probably a little bit separate.
Among the transfers, who so far is showing up? Joel Loretta had a couple of receptions. Speedy Young with the international effort. Just kind of quick, tell us about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think all 7 of them are out there and doing things. You know, it's 3 days in, so, you know, it's hard to make a huge assessment. You know, I think all 3 of them are competing for opportunities to play. You know, you certainly mentioned the 2 DBs. Cam Dillon's out there running around, and he's getting a lot of reps. Anthony Nelson's running around, and he's getting a lot of reps. And then all 3 of the offensive linemen have been running in and out between the 1s and the 2s. And so I think all 7 of those guys have been what we hoped they would be. You know, and probably the best thing to say about all of them is just how they've assimilated to our culture, right? That's the biggest thing when you get into the portal, is making sure you don't ruin your locker room. And I think we've been really blessed with the kids that we brought into the program, that they've just kind of bought into where we want to go, and it's been a really smooth transition for all of them.
Mike, I noticed a lot of attention to detail as far as like the fundamentals, kind of like a crispness to drills when guys get in and out.
Yeah.
Have you seen that grow over time as you've been here? How important is those kind of factors to you?
Yeah, you know, as a coach, it's growing. It's never where I want it to be. That's just coaching, right? But I think that's just, to me, we talk to the kids all the time, like, what we do isn't special. How we do it is what's got to provide us our advantage, and that's all the details, right? Everybody can run out and go out and play the scheme, or can run this play or run that play. It's who does it the best that's the group that's going to ultimately have success. And so we just try to breathe that into our program in every facet of what we do, in the weight room, in conditioning, in drills, in everything.
Building off that, are you finding it at all difficult to try and motivate them, or are you finding that there's no need for motivation, they're buying in automatically?
No, I mean, I've been really blessed. I have been. First-time head coach, you know, you're always nervous about how people are going to hear your message, what the locker room's going to do when you stand in front of them for the first time. I've been really blessed with this group. I think this group has bought into our messaging. They've bought into what we're trying to do, how we want to do things. So there's been a lot of change from them, and that makes it easier to coach, obviously, and easier to come out here every day. And so I'm really happy with where our locker room is. You know, we still have a ways to go, details and fundamentals and those types of things, but I come to work and come to practice every day excited to be around these guys.
About that locker room, 3 guys just voted captains by their teammates. How are they helping to reinforce that message? And is it a little unusual to you that quarterback or a position guy was not elected to be one of those captains?
Yeah, the last part of that, no. I think, you know, obviously we're in a quarterback battle, and so I think there's a lot of respect in our locker room for both kids. But I think when you pick up that pencil and start voting, you don't want to be the guy picking which quarterback you think should be the quarterback, and so there's probably a lot of inference if you vote for one of those two kids, and so I don't see that as strange. In terms of how they're helping, we talked about this within the first 3 days on the job with those guys. Like, in order for us to have success now and do the things that we want to do now, we need buy-in from the older kids, right? That's the biggest challenge when you come in as a new staff and a new coach is how quick do the older kids change, right? Because if they fight and they resist, then you wind up in this world where you're waiting for your locker room and your guys. If they buy into what you're saying, they buy into your messaging, and they want to become your guys, then you can go out and compete with them. And so I told them the other night when we made the announcement, I'm just really proud of what they've done to help spread the messaging. And so I don't know that it necessarily changes now that they're captains. I think it changed in December, and that's why they got voted captains.
There were a couple of times where there were some big plays made out in practice today. There was one at the beginning of the 14th period, a big interception down the field. There was one on the sideline, a huge catch. When the team gets hyped, when they get so energetic about those type of plays, what does that do for you as a coach, especially when it's just in a practice like this?
Yeah, I think that's what you want. You challenge them to compete, and you challenge them to treat every practice like it's a game. And if you go out there and you play 25 games before the opener, then you are ready for the first game, right? If you go out there and treat everything like a practice and it's no energy and it's kind of you're just going through the motions, then you're not ready, and you got to use the games to get ready. So yeah, really excited. I'm the head coach now, right? So now I see all the bad. And so the interception was probably a great pick. I was kind of worried about the throw. The long pass was probably a great throw and catch. I was a little bit disappointed with the coverage. So that's kind of the role I play now as the head coach. But no, it's good to see kids out there making plays. They've worked extremely hard this summer, and so it's good to see them go out and have some fun.
Like backtracking to the quarterbacks for a minute. I'm not going to ask you if there's a leader after 3 days.
Good.
When you do eventually name whichever one is going to start, will the other ones still be involved in game planning and part of the packages?
Oh yeah, I think in the modern world of college football, the way the speed of the game is nowadays, we're worried about getting our third quarterback ready. As much as we're worried about getting 1 and 2, we're also worried about 3 because that's how seasons go sometimes. And so, however this thing shakes out, and then there'll be internal competition all year too. Like we never want to be a program that gets stagnant. And I think the best way you stop that from happening is you have internal competition always. And so I don't imagine that it'll really change much other than one guy will go out there first.
How are you delineating the reps with the QBs, and is there anything to take away from Riley kind of asserting himself to be the first one in line for warm-ups and a lot of times the first one to take the rep as far as the drills?
Yeah, you just read the wrong day. So that would have been Jordan yesterday. Honestly, we've been, since spring ball, to be fair to those guys, we really have rotated every day. And so one guy goes with the ones today, the next guy goes tomorrow. We've kept everything equal and balanced. We've done it in scrimmages. We've done it pretty much as evenly as we can to give them both the same opportunity to kind of see how this thing plays out.
You have certain goals that from week to week to week throughout the practices that you have as a coach that maybe you're sharing with the other coaches that you want to see specifically come out of these practices on a weekly basis.
Yeah, I think we have an extremely detailed plan going into every practice. I think every practice has an objective in terms of what we're trying to accomplish, down and distance situations, what situations we're working in a given practice. In terms of what you're trying to overall see, you're just trying to see improvement every day. I think that's what you're looking for because, good football teams improve every time they play football. And if we're going to be a good football team, that's the path that we'll take. And so I don't know necessarily that you have differing agendas overall. You just have really specific goals for each practice.
Mike, how comfortable are you playing true freshmen? Do we see a lot of true freshmen on the field this fall?
You'll see the best players on the field this fall. I think that's my messaging to every kid in this program and every kid that we recruit. And so if that happens to be a true freshman, great. If not, okay. That question to me just seems like, to predetermine which class of kids you're going to play seems to me like outdated thinking a little bit. We're going to play the best players, and whoever they are, that's who's going to play.
Mike, you waited so
offensive line group coming in to the season, probably the most stable maybe position group that we have
what are your thoughts 3 practices in on that O-line group? Maybe some moving around or some rotating in and out. How's that group look specifically?
Yeah, tough to tell until today. You know, the helmets practices favor the defensive line so much because the offensive line can't really get into people. So today was really the first day I thought the O-line could go out there and really try to be physical. And so it sounded good. The pads sounded good. You know, we'll watch the film and get the details of it. It's probably, you know, adding those 3 kids into the mix, I think, has created even a higher level of competition, which has been good to see too. And so I think you've got, you know, some of the returning guys fighting to stay in the top 5, in the top 8. Those guys coming in trying to get in the top 5 and get in the top 8. And so I think we've got a little bit more internal competition too.
Have there been any other position battles where someone's kind of come up and surprised you, or would you say you've kind of started with a blank slate?
Yeah, to me, it's all been blank slate. I think it's unfair to ask these kids to work as hard as they work and then not evaluate them. You know, we had some kids this summer have amazing summers in terms of development, strength, and physicality, and speed, and weight, and all of those things. And so to not come out into camp and give them an opportunity to show what type of player they are now versus where they were in the spring kind of diminishes why you do all that work. And so to me, it's always a blank slate, and then we'll let the film kind of tell us who the guys are that need to be on the field.
You've waited so long for this opportunity. Just wondering, are you having fun? I mean, you seem like you're in a good mood. Like
Yeah,
you're enjoying it.
I'm having a blast. I'm having a blast. It's been really cool to just kind of take on the task of all of it. You know, it's you get into a very narrow scope as a defensive coordinator, just focusing on that side of the ball, and to be more involved on offense, to be more involved in special teams, to get involved with running a program, establishing a culture, the infrastructure that goes into what we're trying to do. I just think it's been extremely rewarding and a challenge that I've really enjoyed going through.
What was the genesis of the 2 night practices to open fall camp?
Class.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're just finishing up class. So yesterday was our last day of summer school, and so we got into a little bit of a different type of schedule, which was good. I thought the way we did it was really good because, you know, the hardest thing is when you start camp, because the energy, the anxiety, all of that stuff is at such a high level. Sometimes your kids burn through energy really quick, and so sometimes going the first 2 at night just helps keep them a little bit protected until you get into the flow of how camp works. And then, you know, today, tomorrow, Sunday, we'll get out in the heat a little bit more because we need that work, and so it'll be a good balance that way.
All right, thank you, Coach Elko.
Yeah, appreciate you guys. Thanks everybody for coming out.